Hey guys. So I was trying to do this on my Live the Glamour page, but then realized I couldn't share it over here, so I just switched over to here. Anyway, I talked a little bit about this yesterday, so I decided to do this Facebook Live as like a cooking addition to some of the Thanksgiving stuff that I'm going to be making. I'm doing an apple pie stuffing. My sister made a bunch of stuff. She actually started some stuff last night. She'll be here a little bit later. I'm at my dad's house. This is where we're having Thanksgiving, so it's just easier to cook here than bring it all over here tomorrow. I don't think I've ever fully cooked live on like video live. So this is going to be interesting. I didn't really prep anything. And I realized that I wish that I had my lighting from my office here. So if I do this again, cooking live, I'm definitely going to bring, so at my office I have a couple lights. I got bigger kind of lights, and the lighting would make it a lot better. Plus it doesn't help that there's like doors to outside behind me because that light coming in. Anyway, whole other story. So I'm going to be making apple pie. I'm going to be showing the stuffing that I make, and then we'll see what else. We'll see how long this goes. If it goes crazy long or if everybody's bored, then I'll cut it. But I'm going to start with the apple pie. I didn't really prep anything too much for it, except for peeling the apples. So if you don't see me on screen, it's probably because I had to get something that I didn't think of. And that's about it. So this should be fun. As I'm going, if you have any questions, I can answer them too because I have this on my computer. So it makes it a little bit easier to talk to you guys and answer some stuff. And maybe tell a few stories because I've been cooking for Thanksgiving, well, cooking in general since I was like 12 or 13. If you don't already know, I come from a Italian background, and we cook all the time. If you watch my Insta stories, I'm cooking on there. I love it. It's something that I kind of really like to do. I don't know, it just kind of makes me feel good. I don't have to think about anything, and I just love cooking. So I'm going to start because I'll start talking, and then I won't be doing this, and, you know, it'll be like a 5-hour video, and I don't know if anybody wants to watch a 5-hour video. So to make apple pie, or to make the apple pie that I made, I actually made the dough the other night, and I put it in the refrigerator. So it's a pie crust that is enough for a bottom, the crust, and then a top too. And actually, honestly, when I roll it out, it usually rolls out to, I could make probably 2 pies out of this. So anyway, I put this in the refrigerator. I made this on Monday, and because it's the crust, the dough you can leave for a couple days. So it's just, I like to have some stuff prepped ahead of time. It makes just your time so much easier in the kitchen, and you're not kind of jumping around from 12 different things. So the pie crust is really basic. I'll put it on Live the Glamour, what's in this, but it's flour, a little bit of sugar, butter, and water. That's it. So it's a simple pie crust. I'm gonna let it sit out while I do the apples, and hopefully it gets soft enough, not too soft, but soft enough to roll out. I took out the rolling pins and everything that I do for the crust, so it's right in front of me. I'll show you guys this. So what's cool is this right here. It's a rolling mat, and it's my grandmother's. My grandmother passed this down. Well, actually, I don't know. She gave it to my dad, I think. Anyway, she passed this down. These are also, this is, I think my mom had this rolling pin, and she just gave it to me. And these two are my grandmother's rolling pins that I have. This one's a little bit of a smaller one. So I love this part of baking where I get to, you know, my grandmother's no longer here anymore, so it kind of is nice to have their memory in the kitchen too. All my grandparents, both my grandmothers cooked a lot, and I was always around them cooking. So I don't know, it's kind of nice to have some of their stuff here that I get to use. Anyway, the apple pie recipe that I have is actually my aunt Michelle. It's her recipe, and I'm gonna start cutting them because by the time I talk, it'll end up being like a whole story, and I didn't even make anything. So I'm just gonna okay. I have one of those, I don't know where it is, apple slicers, but I don't like to use the apple slicers for the apple pie because I like to cut the apples really thin. I guess I could use it and then cut them, but it kind of it doesn't defeats the purpose. So when I slice the apples, I'm going to show you guys for apple pie. I don't like them to be super thick because they cook better. And there's apple pie recipes that you can cook over a stove and kind of get them warm, but I don't do that. So I usually cut them like this. So they're not really super thin or thick, but these bake the best in the oven. Denise, what did you say? I don't know. Leave work and come here now. So anyway, the apples are Honeycrisp apples. Those are the kind that I use. They're like the red ones. And this is a bowl I have of them. I always do more than the recipe says. I have a little lemon juice on them because it keeps them from getting brown. So I have 7 apples. I think the recipe is 6. But, so I cut them kind of thinner like that. And they cook they bake like awesome when they're kind of not too thick. And I take the skin off because I hate apples. Honestly, I hate anything with the skin on it. I don't like it. I think I'm like allergic to it, to be honest. Even like eggplant, when I make eggplant parmesan, I hate when there's skin on the eggplant. I just can't stand it. So I always peel the apples for this. But it's my Aunt Michelle's recipe, and just to tell you a little story. Stories are fun, kind of. When I was growing up, I would always go to my aunt's house to bake. She's an amazing cook. She probably, I don't know, she can. My mom is. My whole family, everybody in my whole family, they cook. Their food's incredible. And I was so lucky to grow up around that. I would go to my aunt's house. She loved to bake, and she always has all these awesome recipes. So she has recipes from everybody in our family passed down, and we would go there, and in the fall time we would make apple pie, and her apple pie recipe is just like out of this world. And honestly, I think what it is just getting the crust right and getting like the mixture with the apples really good, and the kind of soaking a little bit. So that's why I do the apples. I cut the apples up first, and then let them sit in like the cinnamon, the sugar, and everything, and let them get really all juicy. And then while they're sitting there, I roll out the crust. And the crust is a pretty easy crust because sometimes, like Easter baking, the crusts are, Denise could vouch for that, are not always easy, and that's not fun. So anyway, we would go there, and we would always bake pies at my apple pies at my aunt's house, and I loved it. It's just like a fun time, like little memory, I guess. What? Jenny, I'm definitely posting the recipe. I'm going to post it on Live the Glamour. You know Aunt Michelle, sorry, you guys, I'm trying to like duck down. I never have to do that. I'm never like too tall, but I should have raised the camera up. Jenny, Aunt Michelle's recipes are amazing. So I will post a recipe on Live the Glamour for this. It's really pretty easy. So, and a kind of a quick one. If you want to make an apple pie somewhat relatively quickly, this is a good one to do that with, because it doesn't take too long. I have nothing against store-bought crusts, but that would be a faster option if you really were dying for apple pie and didn't want to make the crust. But if you do the crust, it really doesn't take that long. It's kind of fast to do. And like I said, you could do it the day before or a couple days. You can honestly do the crust way before and put it in the freezer and you'd be fine. I'm taking the core out of the apples because there's no need for them. Let's see what else. Oh, Denise, my sister just said, my sister has an apple crisp recipe, which we make too, or she makes too, which is amazing. It's so good. It's like, oh my God, out of this world. But we decided to go with the traditional apple pie this year. My dad was upset because he likes to have 12,000 desserts, even if there's not a lot of people. So he said, why are we not also having pumpkin pie? But I said that's because my aunt is bringing some dessert over. I'm making this, and it's insane. Crazy part is it's still in my head, and like I might actually make a pumpkin pie. So we know how that goes. But Mark, I just saw your comment. Come over. Are you off? Are you working? Who's working today? Wade, hi. Thanks. I can't wait for it. When it bakes, oh my God, the smell, the cinnamon and everything is amazing. I'm cutting this on top of a paper towel just because I don't like it to get too much juice, but it got messed up. So, but I'll show you guys. So that's the pile I have so far. I'll cut one in front of you just so you can see. So what I do is I slice it all the way around the core, and it cuts the core right out. And then I do these really thin, nice thin slices of apple. And they cook. So I don't like when it's too mushy, and I also don't like when the apples are too hard in an apple pie. And so the thickness of these apples is perfection. So that's why I don't use the apple core for this. And I just slice them myself. Because then I would be going back and having this slice them thinner, and it's like double the work for no reason. And that doesn't make sense. So I guess I could have done this before so you guys don't have to watch this boringness. But it's pretty good. Sometimes if I feel like there's still like a little bit of apple left, I'll just go like that and take those pieces and throw them in the pile because they're still useful. And that's that. I have two more, and then we'll get to the good part. This is probably, honestly, I think this part, the peeling and the cutting of the apples, is probably the longest part of making this apple pie. We'll see how the crust goes, because you can make the crust on top look really decorative and pretty. My sister has a recipe that you cut out like little leaf shapes for the top of it. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. We'll see how far I go. But this is the longest part of the pie making process for this. Almost done. Look at that pile of apples. It's amazing. Hi. All right, so I have one more. And just so you guys can see, so there's some lemon juice in the bottom of the bowl. That is it's so important because it really does keep them from turning brown. And the worst thing you could do is, not the worst thing, one of the worst things you could do is have the apples turn brown before you even get them mixed in your mixture. So I am not into that. So I just put a little bit of lemon juice in the bowl, and I'll cut these last two apples up, and we'll be good to go. And then we can do the fun, delicious part. So the mixture for these, Jenny, what kind of knife? It is a Wusthof knife, and yeah, and it's my favorite one. Bought this for my dad years ago, but it's so good. It chops like amazing. You can actually tell that it's like been used a lot. I bought. Oh no, wait, is this a Wusthof? Wait a minute. Wait, no, this is a Henkel. Sorry. We have all these knives. This is a Henkel, not Wusthof. The Wusthof ones that we bought, I don't like. I can't stand those knives. I feel like they don't cut at all. But the Henkel knives are amazing. And I don't like the kind that are already like sharpened for you, where it says like you'll never have to sharpen them. They're bullshit. They don't work, and you can't sharpen them, and so then they're like dull and they don't work, and I'm not down with that. All right, this is the last apple. And I also have the oven on 350. I know it sounds really bad. And baking, everybody says baking is very precise. To be honest with you, I mean, I do think baking is precise. Maybe just from cooking so long, you kind of get used to knowing certain things. but I don't think you can, like if I was to put the oven on 375, it's not going to change the world. So if you have it between, if you see recipes that say 350, or you see recipes that say 325 or 375, anywhere, I mean, I know that sounds insane. I never do 325 ever. It just always feels kind of low to me. And 350 is right for baking, always fits kind of well. Unless you know you're making something that really has to be slow cooked, like macaroons or something very delicate, a food that's like very, very delicate, then I would really go by the temperature. But an apple pie is kind of rough and rustic and doesn't need to be on any specific temperature, you know, where it's going to affect it in any way. Erroneous, Denise. I know, my sister, I wish you were here because we disagree on, let me wash my hands really quick. Denise is all about proper temperatures and bake times. It's like, you can't change the times. If it says 375, it's 375. If it says 9 minutes for cook time for a cookie, it's 9 minutes for cook time. But I had to give her credit though, because when my sister makes any type of holiday, like Christmas cookies, they come out to perfection. So maybe disregard what I'm saying, but that's just how I am. I don't really worry about it. I just watch it more. Denise. Melinda. Melinda. Hi. All right, so this is the big bowl of apples. That's right. Yeah, I know, Denise. I know. If you leave work and come here, you can reset the oven so that way it's on the right temperature and make sure the apple pie comes out right. So I'm just mixing them because they have a little bit of lemon juice, like I said, to keep them from browning. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I know new people will sign on and off. So if in case you missed it, I mean, you'll be able to watch it later, but that's what I'm doing. Anyway, now they're nice and juiced up for that. And who else is here? Jenny? Did anyone ask anything else that I missed? I don't want to miss like comments. So Dawn, did you talk about how to ensure the apples? So for the apples right now are in the lemon juice. They're fine. And it's all about the baking in the oven. And that's why I also specified the thickness of the apples. When they're right around like this type of thickness, you know, I'll show you one that's a little thinner because you'll see that they kind of have to be between these kind of sizes. This is where with the time that they bake and by the time the crust gets nice and brown, they won't get too soft. So there's recipes where for apple pie that you can cook the apples on the stovetop. I don't really do that. I never do that. And I also don't use, I mean, obviously I'm using fresh apples. I think if you were to get like, I don't recommend this 100% at all. I don't recommend it, but like any frozen apples are gonna get really soft, any canned, anything like that, they get soft. They'll be like mushy in the pie. So that's why I do use the Honey Crisp apples because these are really, really ideal for baking. And I cut them that thinness and then the baking time in the pie crust. And that will make sure that the apples, tomorrow you're gonna have to see when I'll put it on Insta stories. I'll cut the pie, and you'll be able to see that the apples are really nice, and the juice around them is all like glistening, and it's perfect. And the crust is buttery. It's so good. And my dad's getting ice cream, although I don't eat ice cream really. He's getting ice cream because he likes vanilla ice cream on top of the pie. It's very good, but I just don't eat that. So, all right, now I am I sometimes do variations. So I think my aunt may use Granny Smith apples. I have to ask her. But I know Granny Smith apples are also really good for this recipe. They're the green apples. They work nice. They're a little bit more tart. These are a bit more sweet. So it's just a matter of taste of what you like or don't like. What did you say? Never get super slickies off. the longer you let them sit, the longer you let the apples sit in this the mixture that's coming up, the silkier they'll be in the juice. So you'll see. That's how I get them just right in the middle of being like a nice crisp to them still in the pie, but silky with all the juices of everything. Yeah, I love these apples. I think they're good. I don't eat apples like regularly by themselves, but if I do, I like these a lot. All right, so I'm gonna do. So now let's start with the good stuff. I'll put this in front here so you guys can see. So you guys can see the apples, and it's 3/4 cup of sugar. This one. 3/4 cup, but I don't have a 3/4 cup, so I'm eyeballing the sugar. That's about 3/4 of a cup. This is a cup, so that's about 3/4 of a cup. And I'm just gonna sprinkle. So there's all different ways that everybody does this. I do it. I just go for it. And let's see. I have a recipe on the side over here, so that way I can see it. And I have lemon juice already juiced. So this is there was already lemon juice in here, but this is another tablespoon of lemon juice. I also will mix this, and I'll see if it looks like it needs more, depending on the juiciness of the apples, and I might add more. It says 1.5 teaspoons of, I gotta get this. Cinnamon and nutmeg. All right. Okay, spices. Oh, and I have. Oh shoot. So for the cinnamon, my goodness, let's say 1.5 teaspoons. So this is where I just kind of go like this. I'll like measure. This is probably the worst thing. My sister's right dying right now because I'm not measuring stuff. But this is a teaspoon. Oh shoot. Oh shoot. Someone else is gonna watch this and be like, "This girl doesn't know what she's doing." Okay. And the end of the cinnamon, I have another jar of it. That was the end of it. So my thinking is just finish it. There's a little bit left. I'm not gonna like throw it out or anything. So that's cinnamon in here. Nutmeg. So you can buy nutmeg ground already. Ground nutmeg is fine, but these are from this Frontier. These are whole nutmegs. Is that what you call them? Whole nutmegs? No. And where is the thing? Where's the thing? Here's the thing. The thing. Okay. What did you say? Oh, I couldn't, because this foggy mist is so magical. Oh, I agree. You can't go wrong adding too much cinnamon at all. Not for this, not for apple pie. So this is nutmeg, and the recipe, let's see, 1/2 teaspoon. So we'll just grate. Oh, and so it looks like we got 1/2 teaspoon. I'm lefty. Sorry if it looks weird for anyone. That's not lefty. So nutmeg has a little bit of a stronger flavor to it, so I don't go overboard with this. And especially because this is, oh, it went right back in the jar. Especially since this is fresh, sort of fresh nutmeg, I am really cautious about how much I put. So that's about maybe a little less than 1/2 teaspoon. And cloves. Where are, I didn't take that. Cloves. All right. I don't have ground cloves either because we use these for Christmas time. Let's see if we can do this. This is probably not going to work, but oh yeah, there we go. So a little bit of cloves in there. I add a little bit of ginger, which is not in the recipe, but I like it. So that, you know, just a touch. And then where's the butter? Vanilla. The vanilla I add is not in this recipe, but I add it. This is a teaspoon. I'll do like 2 teaspoons of it because I really like vanilla. I love the flavor of it. So that's that. Oh, it smells so good. Now I mix this. And you can mix this with your hands too, as my grandmother probably would have done. One of my grandmothers anyway. Oh, can you guys just look at this? Look at that amazingness. And I barely even mixed it and they're already like so good. And it's not too much sugar, so it's just right. They're all just like coated in a nice little light layer of sugar. Cane sugar. And I don't use the one that's like super white. I'll show you which one I use because everybody always asks. So I use the one from Whole Foods, cane sugar 365. I don't know. I mean, some people think that it tastes different. I don't really think it tastes that much different. I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to it, but that's what I use. I wish you could smell this because it smells beyond. It's like, so if you ever want a dessert that you don't want to feel really guilty about, mix this all up together, like one apple, put some cinnamon, put some sugar on it, and just I put it in like a little packet of foil kind of, and you stick it in the oven. You let it bake up for like 25 minutes, or you could put it in a little ramekin if you don't want to be fast. Stick it in the oven for like 25 minutes. It's like a good sweet dessert at night, and you don't feel guilty because it's basically apples and a little bit of sugar. It's so good. Okay, so that's the apples all mixed up, and they'll just sit here now, and you'll see as I roll out the crust while these sit here, you'll see that there's not a lot of juice in the bottom. There's not going to be a ton, but you'll see that they'll get more juicy from sitting in the sugar and just kind of chilling here. Let me wash my hands real quick. Does anyone know how long Facebook lets you record for? I feel like this is only the first thing I'm making and it's a half hour already. It's because I'm talking so much. Okay. So now for the butter part, you can melt the butter. I don't melt the butter usually, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to dot it on top after I make the crust. I got to get the apple pie pan. This is a 9-inch pie pan. So you know, I'm going to set this aside in a momento. Okay. And I like to try to clean up a little bit as I go because I can't stand when the kitchen is like a mess and just everything is all over the place. So I always, every recipe that I do, like I'll clean up the whole thing, set it, and then start the next one. So I can't stand when everything is a mess. It drives me absolutely crazy. Oh, and then I also I forgot to say, I put a little bit of salt. So salt and sweet always go good together. So I just put a little bit of salt too, which some people don't do, but I do. And mix them up. All right, I'm going to show you the bowl already. And these didn't even sit that long. Look at how much juice is on the bottom of this. You guys see it? So good. Okay. Put that aside. Now, the pie crust is still a little cold because I got to my dad's house and it was in there. I was in the refrigerator from Monday, so I got here immediately and took this out, but it's still a little bit cold, so it's not going to be the easiest thing to roll out, but we'll manage. We'll manage. I'll show you. Well, I'll show you what I'm going to do. So this is the pie crust. I'm going to cut it in half, and I might, honestly, I don't like a really super thick pie crust for pies. I don't like that at all. So, I might cut these in half again and then save it because I just don't like when they are too thick. I can't stand that, especially like the crust on the bottom because then it doesn't cook really good. And all right, so you have to use a little muscle to get it going. If you put it in the refrigerator. Don't mind me. I'll be here for like the next 20 minutes doing this. I'm just kidding. Okay, there we go. So it's a little softer. If you did make the pie crusts like at the same time, like right now, it obviously would be a lot softer. The pie crust has butter in it, so that's why if it was in the refrigerator, it's going to take a little bit longer for it to get soft. I'm using the smaller rolling pin to just get it softer and a little bit thinner, and then I'll use the bigger one probably to really roll it out. Shovel's real. Shovel's real. So anyway, did I miss any questions? While we're going here, I don't think I did. I don't think I missed any questions. I think I covered all the things that we talked about. I really was like, well, wow, that got weird. I really was like debating how long this video was going to end up being on here. And Denise, it does look like a really nice day here. So sarcastic. Just leave work. Everybody, just leave work. Start your baking and cooking. After this, I'm making some stuffing. I'm going to show you that recipe also. But you know what I'm thinking? I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I'm going to use this bigger, the big guy. I might go off. I might turn this off and then restart the video just so that way if anybody can care less about stuffing, you're not stuck watching. Or if you care less about apple pie. So I think that I might make 2 videos out of it. I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay. So you have to put muscle into rolling out a pie crust. There's just no way around that. It's just, it is what it is. You're being serious, Denise? Yeah. It is nice. It's cold out, though. All right. So you don't need to have the mat that I'm doing this on either, but it's my grandmother's, and we always use it, so it's kind of part of it, part of the fun. I'll show you what I'm doing once I get it a little bit better rolled out. Not annoying. Okay. So I make the bottom, obviously the bottom pie crust you have to make a little bigger because it has to go up the sides of the dish too. Let me pull these out of here. So you want it to be probably around, I would say if it's a 9-inch pie crust, then you have to go, I don't know math. I'm just going to show you. Because I think I'd say you have to roll it out to maybe like 12 or so. Like 12 inches all the way around, because then that'll make it just the right size. See, so now that the pie crust is like a little bit softer because I rolled it a touch out, and it's a weird shape, but don't worry because it turns into a circle pretty quickly. This is the thickness right now, but we're going to get it, I usually get it pretty thin because I don't like when it's really thick. Anybody want to come over and help roll out a pie crust? Now, I have to get some flour because once this starts getting rolled out, once we start really rolling it, I don't want it to stick at all. And I'm going to show you it now. See? And that's it. This takes about, that's why I said when the apples will sit, it'll take a lot of time to get this rolled out. Let me do this a little more and then I'll put some flour in it. I don't even know if there's like a machine that does this. Does anybody know if there's a machine that actually, like you could buy and it'll roll the dough out for you? Although I don't feel like it's the same. You need to put like your muscle into it. That's why I didn't go to the gym today. I knew I was going to be baking. You don't need to go to the gym when you bake. Okay. Do you guys want to see it? Should I roll it in front of you? Let me get some flour. Some flour. So it's always, I'll show you. So I have flour. I put a little pile on the side. This is annoying me. That's not, I don't enjoy that. Okay. So it's sort of like, you don't want to put too much because you don't want to dry the crust out. But you need enough so that way it's not going to stick too much. So that's that. Now, look at that. See how it just like, you can see it sort of taking shape really nicely. It's good. It's not going to be a perfect, maybe for some people, I don't ever worry about it being a perfect circle for the pie crust because you're going to cut the edges of it off anyway once you put the top of it on. So you don't have to worry about how these edges look. There we go. Look at that, it looks so hard. Be careful when you flip it. Although I have to say this pie crust is very forgiving. So you can't really go too wrong with it. It's not gonna like break apart. There's a pie crust for a, what kind of pie is it? For like a cheesecake, Italian cheesecake kind. Oh my goodness, it falls apart in like 2 seconds. It's impossible, you can't even flip it. I hate those kind of crusts. This one is beautiful. It's very like elastic and nice. See? You want to get somewhat of the right thickness all the way around. Like you want it to all be somewhat uniform. Just more or less for like the middle part than anything else because you don't want it to be like really thick on one side and then super thin on the other. Kind of breath, guys. Okay. There we go. It's looking really good. Can you see it? Can you see the whole pie crust? All right, flip it one more time, and then I'm going to show you the best way to get this into your pan because there's a trick to it. Well, I guess it's a trick. I don't know. But the important part is to make the size so that way it does fall over the edges, so that way you have enough to crimp and make it look pretty. And then you want enough for like well, we have the other piece for the top. But if you want to do any like decorative little accents, you can cut the edges off and make it pretty. There we go. That's it. That's the pie crust. I can't breathe. It's like, honestly, crazy workout. The pie pan. To grease or not? That is the question. So let me do this. Okay. having flour everywhere. So let me show you how I get it. Mark, I'm gonna need you to come over here and do the measurements. I obviously don't do math. Because you know, if you don't get the correct thickness, it's it. It's all over. Your pie is done. We should have like a cousins cooking day. You know, everybody come, like we all cook. Would that be weird? Happy Thanksgiving, Robin. Thank you. You too. I hope it's amazing. Are you in California or Texas? Or will you be? All right, so let me show you guys the pie crust. So now here's the deal. My pie crust's not round. That doesn't matter. You want to fit it in this pan. You want to get it in here somewhat evenly and without breaking. So you're going to take the pie crust and you're going to just patch that up. You're going to take the pie crust and you're going to fold it in half, sort of in half, as in half is for this. Okay. And then you're going to fold it again so there's a corner. Show you. See that? Not in the flour. So there's a corner. See that corner? So I folded it in half, and then I folded it again, and it made this triangular-ish shape. That's what you want, so you want to put this in the middle of your pan. I gotta grease my pan first. Tell you what I'm gonna do. My sister. Denise, can you leave work, please? Thank you so much. I like how you had to put it in quotes and put I love Lucy. Butter. So I'm not anti-butter at all. So I'm just going to take this and butter or coat the bottom of the pan a little bit with it because I don't want the pie crust to stick. I hate when it sticks to any pan. It usually doesn't stick to these Le Creuset ones. Is this Le Creuset? It's not Le Creuset. So usually we're okay with that, but I still like to do it because I don't like when pie crusts. I don't like when anything, like when you're making a cake, anything when it even remotely starts to stick. So yeah. So you just butter it. Plus the butter is, you can't go wrong with butter. I hope my trainer is not watching because he won't like to hear that, but, so just butter the whole pan. Butter. All right, an apple pie. There we go. Clean your hands. That's the pan buttered. Now, you guys, do you know that I still have to roll out the top, right? What did that just take? That took like 15 minutes to roll out the bottom. Okay, so that's why you end up not making like a full pie crust on top, why everybody does like the strips and everything, because then it's a lot easier. You just cut them. It's done. Okay, so here we go. You take the corner. Show you guys. You take the corner, right, of it, and you put that in the middle. Even though my pie crust is all misshapen, you put that in the middle of the pan, and then this way, and then you unfold. You unfold it, and then you unfold it again, and now you have your pie crust in your pan. Not any issues. I don't like that that's like that, but that's okay. So my thing is this. I can be the type who's like, oh, I need everything to be just right, perfect. But I try not to be like that because I realize that just makes me crazy. And like I end up spending way too much time trying to fix something and make it look perfect. So I've gotten better with just being like, all right, we're just gonna go with it. So I would have probably re-rolled the crust just to get that piece, so that way it wasn't like that. But we're not gonna do that. So I take a little piece from this side and I just stick that there. That's what's nice about this pie crust too, is that you can do stuff like that and it's all good. I think we're good. I'm gonna let this sit over here. Fix that up too. I'm gonna let this sit over here while I start to roll out the top before I put the apples in. And I'd like to make sure that this is all really in the pan pretty good, because it'll bubble. So I don't do I forgot what it's called. I don't pre-bake this, so I don't bake the crust and then rebake it again. Blind bake it, I don't do that. I guess you could, but I don't do it. So because of that, I make sure that it's really tight to the bottom of the pan, and I also just poke it a little bit like this. That way, it doesn't get any air bubbles and the crust doesn't stay to the bottom. So we just do that a little bit. It'll bake really nice, really nicely. This is probably not like the traditional way. People are probably like, what is she doing? But that's how I do it, you know? All right, so that's nicely all around the edge. It's covered really good. And I'm gonna, there's scissors. I'm gonna cut this edge off a little bit. So let's see. That's not too long. So some of it is gonna come up because you're gonna crimp it. The top piece you're gonna crimp together with the bottom. So you need it a little longer right now, but I didn't want it crazy hanging over. That's good. That looks nice. All right, so that's that. Set that aside over here. And we will begin to roll out the second crust. So I'm gonna cut this because I know that I don't like it as thick as the bottom. There we go. Cut it up. It's a little bit easier to do it this way. There we go. And if you have leftover pie crust, so there's a few things. I don't do any of them. But what you can do is you can make cinnamon sugar and you can sprinkle some of it. You can get a little bit of butter in a pan, melt it, and cinnamon sugar, and bake the crust. Bake like little pieces like of the crust with the cinnamon sugar on it. It's really good. They're like little pastry slivers. I love them. Okay. I don't know if I'll do that. We'll see. We'll see. Ugh. So much work this baking is. Baking is a lot of work. So, what do you guys bake for Thanksgiving? Or do you bake stuff, or do you buy it? What do you guys do? What's everybody doing for their dessert part of Thanksgiving? I'd love to know. All right. Leave a comment. Also, I said it in the beginning, but I'll say it again. I will have the recipe on Live the Glamour, so you'll be able to get it there. It's really, I mean, you guys saw it here. It's not so hard, but I know I'll get asked about the pie crust. So, all right, now let's begin the process again. This one's a little bit easier because it sat out longer, so it's not going to take as long, I don't think. And there we go. That would be the worst. You guys know when like the video freezes? Face I just made would be like the worst frozen video ever. Let's hope it doesn't do that. Because like it always ends up freezing on something weird. You never get like where it freezes on like a nice picture of yourself. It always freezes like so randomly. You're like, that's great. I already showed rolling the other one out. If you guys want to see me doing this one. Yeah. So exciting. So exciting. Okay. I'm saying, like, why is that annoying? So the top of the pie crust, like I said, I make it a little thinner because I don't like it too thick for pie. And it does look very rustic-y. I guess that's the word, right? Rustic. The word for, like, it doesn't look like I bought it. It wasn't in the store perfect. I didn't do it perfectly, so it's rustic. Oh, God. Just over here laughing, making myself laugh while I do this. My sister could get out of work. She could be here too, making jokes off camera because she doesn't want to be on camera. All right. So the top you don't have to also make as big either because it's just going on. Well, I mean, you want it to go over the edges, but you don't have to worry too much because it's not going up the sides of anything. See how nice that rolls out? Really nice. Look at all this extra dough I have over here. Anyone else bored yet? Anyone else sign up? Okay. There we go. Getting there, we're getting there. I wish I could say how, like, what the exact is, like a quarter of an inch. I don't know. What is that? What is it? Does anyone know? Like, would anybody know that the appropriate thickness that it would be to say? If you really wanted measurements, I don't think I would know. Whew. This mat, though, I think you can find them in Home Goods. It's so good because it really does help with, like, dough sticking too. Like, it definitely prevents stuff from sticking. I've done it on the marble, and then I've also done it on a wooden board, but this works the best. Okay, there we go. That is perfect. I got serious for a minute there. Okay. If someone is like the type that needs everything to be like symmetrical, they would hate this piece of dough right now. They would be like, no, it's not right. And you're gonna do the same thing. So you're gonna put the corners and make it nice and easy to get it on top of the crust. There we go. I can't breathe. All right. I'm gonna fold it. Anyone else see that? That was light, totally flickering right there. I'm gonna fold it in half and make it nice and easy to get it in the on top of the pie later. Okay, set that aside. Now, let's put the filling. Look at all that extra pie crust. Do something with it. All right, so here's the pie crust. Here are the apples. And let's just stir them up a little. Oh yeah, they're so good. Can you guys see this amazingness? It's all the sugar melted. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. right. So like I said, after I do this, after this goes in the oven, I'm gonna sign off of this and I'll start the next one. I'm making stuffing. I think those are the 2 recipes that I'm gonna show. I'm gonna start a new live, just so that way it's broken up, so that way the 2 recipes are separate and they don't blend into one, and it'll just make it easier. So in case you want to still keep watching after I finish doing this, that's what I'm gonna do. That's the plan. Okay, so butter, some butter. And I know this is gonna be crazy, but I take a little bit of butter and dab it on the bottom of the pie. Here's where everybody's like, oh my God, it's so unhealthy. Sorry. So that's that. So those pieces, and now the apples are gonna, I put in, like I did an extra apple. Look at that juice. Look at the juice. I put an extra apple in, so they're gonna be piled kind of high in this pie crust, but I like that. And they sink down a little bit anyway once they bake. These are my hands. Someone's gonna be mad about that too. Okay, look at that pile of apples. Alrighty, so just tuck them all in really nice. Make sure they're all in there. They bake down pretty good. But see how like I did 7 apples and like it looks nice. Like when it bakes, it'll pile up really pretty and look delicious. It's that. So the same thing with the crust. We're going to take the corner, put it in the middle. There. And then you can adjust it however, but that looks really nice. If I feel like any pieces like this right here felt like it needed a little extra, I just do that, because then we're going to crimp these sides up pretty good together. We're going to crimp the bottom with the top. So that's why I said to leave that extra edge from before, because you want that. Also keep in mind that the pie crust, when it bakes, it shrinks. So you want this longer because you want it to, it's going to shrink. And I've done this where it shrinks and then like it breaks apart because there wasn't enough pie crust. So keep that in mind. So what you're going to do is you're going to take these extra edges, as long as there's not too much. Just get the little excess off here. That's pretty good. It's good. It's good. And that's good. All right, so you're going to take these edges and you're going to turn them in. Let me see if I can show you. You're going to turn them inside like that, so it makes like a seal. So it's sealed together. And then go all the way around. Should I do like the traditional crimping that you see like on regular pies? That side's a little janky. So you tuck it all in, because that's how you make sure that the juices and everything don't explode out and your crust is not going to shrink to a weird size. And then once we got that done, I'll show you guys how to do the prettiness. Should I do some leaves on top of it? Should I really go wild? Like dough leaves, I mean, not like outside leaves. Okay. So you could leave it like that. It's fine. Like there's not a big deal if you left it like that. You can do this if you wanted to. You can crimp it like that, like you've seen those. The traditional way to do a pie crust is to just take your finger and your, can I talk? Your pointer finger and pinch it. And you're just gonna crimp it like that. I also have done like braids on the sides and stuff, but for now, we'll just keep it. We'll just do this. But that's how you get that little crimping, see? And that's it. Done and done. All right, so let me just show you really quickly if you wanted to make some cute little leaves on top. You guys, do you know what I just realized? I forgot to put the butter on top. Whatever, we'll stick some on after. Okay, that's fine. It's all good. Actually, I'll do it right now. I'll show you, and then we'll put the leaves on. All right, so technically you're supposed to put the butter underneath this crust. I just realized I forgot to do that. So we're going to do it now. So you want to put these little holes in it anyway because you need it to breathe. But don't tell anybody I'm going to do this. Butter. Okay. Don't tell anyone. We're going to hide these little, if it's too open after with the leaves. So. Shh. Don't tell anybody. This is what happens when you mess something up. There's always a solution to forgetting. Yeah? There's always a way. You don't have to go crazy. Go. So I put like 3 pats of butter underneath the crust, so that way when it bakes, the butter's all nice and baked in there too. And that's that. Here we go. That's that solution to that problem. All right, so now let's take these pieces and we're gonna just roll this out a little bit. Make some leaves. This is fun because they look really cute and decorative on top. And then we just have to do a little egg wash to make it all glowy and glistening. And we pop it in the oven for like an hour or so. And that's it. Okay, here we go. All right, so to do a little leaf, you're just gonna make the shape of a leaf. Okay. Leaf shape. You could also do like this kind. Let's fail at this. But they don't look as good when they bake. Looks like a Christmas tree. So you can do that, or you can do this shape. This shape is much easier, so that's why I showed it to do. Can you guys see that? So this shape you can do this way. So either one. That's that little leaf shape. Which do you guys prefer? That leaf? This leaf is so much easier to do though. Alright. So I'm gonna probably put those on because they just are easy. I'm only gonna do 3. Or should I do 4? I think I'll do 4. Okay. My lights are, why are they flickering? Do you guys see that light flickering? It's really obnoxious. All right, let's do that. Still a lot of the dough left over. There's the pie. And here is, all right, let me get the egg wash. Get the egg wash. Egg. So you can brush this. I don't have my egg brush thing. Whoa. Where is it? So you just like scramble. You can use just egg white too if you want, or you don't even have to do this. If you can skip this part too. Just a little egg wash and just dab it on top. You can also do it with like almond milk if you don't want egg. Now I'm gonna put foil on the outsides of these because I don't want the outside to burn before it all cooks. All right, that's that. See how shiny that makes it? And now you can just put these little leaves on, all decoratively. Pretty. All right, that's that. That is the apple pie. I hope you guys like watching this. It was an hour. I gotta turn this off because that's gonna make me crazy. I hope you guys liked watching this first live cooking video. And I will be back to show you. Should I come back and show you the stuffing, or should I just do the apple pie? What do you guys think? Let me know. Or maybe I'll wait for my sister to get here and we'll see what we do together. If you want to see how this looks, I will be posting it on my Instagram so you can see how it comes out of the oven later. And then I will show it again tomorrow when we cut into it and see what it looks like. So you have to wait till tomorrow to see, but that's apple pie. Thank you guys for watching. See you soon.